Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
Are you ready, my champion?
Let his power be known!
Incineration.
I mean, that's pretty decent damage. Hey guys, Bazooka Tank here. This is the build guide for my CI Elementalist Soul Ring Conduit, which was my first build of this league. This is one of those rare moments that I found a build that is actually good enough to make a guide for. It's cheap to start, it's good for bossing, mapping, and it scales very well with currency. Lightning Conduit is a skill that only hits shocked enemies, but it can't shock enemies itself. So to deal damage, we first need to cast Orb of Storms to apply shock. And when we cast Lightning Conduit instead of Orb of Storms, it deals damage, applying a new shock. This loop has a limit of 30 hits per Orb of Storms you cast. This activation scales with cast speed. And how do we scale cast speed? With the new Coiling Whispers ring. The ring gives a minimum of 1 soul every time a curse is ending. Each soul grants 5 attack and cast speed up to a cap of 45. And that's a total of 225 to attack and cast speed. So, to manipulate the duration, we use a level 1 Temporal Chains, a level 1 Hex Touch support, and an inverted Delve mod. The goal is to reduce the duration by 99%, and when it linked to Orb of Storms, it generates souls on hit. Since we are using Ashes of the Stars on this build, we need a ring with at least 79% reduced curse duration. You can buy one of these rings on trade. If the ring has 3 suffixes, you can simply split the item using Phenomenal Plagued Arachnid, and make sure the ring has at least 4 or 6 mods before splitting. And by crafting Cannot Roll Caster mods, we can safely annul down to just the singular mod. Then you craft Reduced Mana Cost of Skills, and after catalyzing for caster mods, you can finally use a Reflecting Mist on the item. The next important mechanic is shock scaling. Lightning Conduit deals more damage per 5% shock on the enemy. So we scale shock effect using Shaper of Storms and the Lightning Mastery. We also need Unbound Ailments on Orb of Storms, some ailment effect on the tree, and the Timeless Jewel mod to push it further. Make sure you have all of these, otherwise the single target will feel really bad. We're also abusing Graven Secrets plus Ralakash, so we can benefit from power charges and absorption charges at the same time. And since we are elementalists, Golem abusing was also an obvious choice because of all the nice buffs they provide. Okay, some important things about the tree. Don't forget to take ZO, because without ZO you cannot sustain the damage over time that you're gonna take from Shimmerons. And make sure you have all the Golem effect on your tree, and you have your Cluster Jewel over here, get even more Golem effect. If you're lacking attributes and res, you can take those 2 nodes, they're very efficient. And if you solve them, you can just untick them and put somewhere else. Maybe you find a second Cluster Jewel here, if you have the points. These 2 masteries are not real. They are 2 rune grafts, the Bound rune and the Fortress rune for increased global defenses, and the other one is to effects on the gloves. It helps a lot with Dex and also gives you a lot of ES. And since we're using Ralakash, Ralakash is doesn't have any really good stats, just a little bit of movement speed that you're gonna lose, so it's pretty decent. And one more thing is, if you really like in Dex, this mastery can be this mastery here too, and like that you're gonna get way more Dex like this. For the Merc setup, we are using Doriani's prototypes combined with negative lightning res rings, and we're also using Perk of Stove for lucky damage, the Calm's Belt for physical mitigation, and Eclipse Solaris for the blind. If you want to spend more money on the Merc, you can add Aura Effect Corruptions to the belt and the amulet. You anoint the amulet with even more Aura Effect. Then you buy one of the 2 Blight Unique helmets that can be anointed twice for even more Aura Effect. They need to be corrupted though, because if they remain unique, they will mess up with the Merc resistances, so they need to go rare. You can craft a dagger, scepter or wand for even more Aura Effect. And if you do, you will need a new cluster jewel with disorienting display, so you don't lose your blind. And you can finish it up with Matua Tapua for even more Aura Effect. This setup gets even stronger if you have a Merc with 2 auras, Wrath and Zealotry. And then you can equip Haste on yourself for even more Zoom Zoom. I leveled this build using Armor Brand Cremation until mapped, then I swapped to Lightning Conduits once I could equip some nice ES gear so I could go CI. And if you're looking for more in-depth guides about leveling a witch, you should check out Havoc's channel. I'll link into the description below, he's very good. I'm also gonna link an endgame version of the POB if you wanna take the build further. I'm happy to answer any questions on the comments, or you can just ask them directly to me whenever I'm live. But for now, it's time for me to move on to some bigger memes. Anyway, good luck everyone, thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.